Welcome to Advocates, the podcast, and our junior segment. Today, we're very lucky to have Kwan Wilson, a partner in Lim Chi Wee Partnership in Kuala Lumpur. Wilson was admitted to the Malaysian bar on the 25th of June 2010, and he's a graduate of the University of Malaya. Naturally, his area of practice is litigation, and in this circumstance, it's commercial litigation, and he has an interest in fraud, asset recovery, competition law, and aviation disputes. Wilson, welcome to Advocates, the podcast.
Thank you, Gopal. Thank you for having me.
Okay, Wilson, you know how this works. You've got 7 minutes, and we've got to crack through these questions. So let me ask Khatijah to kick the timer off, and we'll get going.
Let's go.
Wilson, why choose advocacy?
Winning. I think advocacy gives you that opportunity to, in a sense, of course, be successful in court, and that gives me great satisfaction, especially where your client puts you in a position of trust, right? You are essentially the voice of your client, whatever the cause may be. It can be a human rights case, it can be a breach of contract case. No case is too small. You are the voice of the client in the face of, depending on who you're representing, of course, injustice, or where you want to seek some kind of remedy. So you're put in a position of trust, and you're able to deploy the skills that you've learned either in law school or through experience to win a case. And winning a case, combining both logic and the art of persuasion, I think is a thing of a beauty, and that gives me great satisfaction. So advocacy is, that's the reason why.
Great. Now, the best lesson that you have learned from someone leading you?
Okay, I don't remember who was this specific lawyer who told me this, certainly a senior counsel. What he once told me was, whenever I lead you in court, right, say I'm a second chair, always assume that I will be, meaning the second chair, I will be the one making the arguments in court, right? And then compare notes with how the lead counsel, eventually presents the case in court, and try to draw the contrast and see whether you take the same approach or not. And that is something that I always do whenever somebody leads me. So I will compare and say, okay, if I, Kwan Wilson, wants to lead the case, this is how I'm going to run it. And that's it. That is a particular difference. Yeah. So I've taken that on board, and whenever a case is completed, I always, engage lead counsel. Okay, why didn't you argue it in this fashion? Because I would have done it. Right. So that experience I've carried with me, or that lesson I've carried with me for years, and I think that has helped me a lot.
Okay, great. Now, the first substantive words you used in an argument, and why did you use them?
Okay, I have to ask a bit of clarification. What do you mean by substantive words in an argument?
Well, clearly, the first word you normally use would be "my lord," right? So after that, what are the first substantive words you used?
Okay, I subscribe to what I would say. Just say it. No filler words. If you have a point or proposition, just go for it.
Okay.
My lord, this is my case. And then I explain. So say your proposition, explain it. Next proposition, say it, explain it.
Okay. When was the first time you made the witness on the other side uncomfortable?
Okay. Short story. This is my first trial. In fact, in the Sessions Court of Ipoh as a first-year lawyer. So quite glad to be given that opportunity. And the witness was actually a very senior lawyer. He goes by the name of Maria Das, from this law firm called Maria Das Law and Ainuddin. For some reason, his client, or former client rather, decided to subpoena him. And I didn't know what to ask, and I decided eventually to ask one single question, which is that whatever it is that your clients are now trying to put to you or trying to blame you, all of it was done based on instructions, right? You acted based on instructions. That was the single question I asked. He said, yes, of course. He looked a bit uncomfortable. I looked a little bit uncomfortable as well, because I didn't have any other further questions. So
okay.
There's a short story.
That's good stuff. All right, 10 years from now, what do you want to do?
Continue practicing the law, certainly. I think, to me, this is a journey that I will carry on, because I really much enjoy the work that I do. So 10 years from now, certainly, I imagine myself still being in the High Court.
Yeah.
Court of Appeal, hopefully more the Court of Appeal and Federal Court then.
Okay. Trials or hearings, which one?
Trials.
Why?
I like the fact that through trials, you get to build your case brick by brick. You get to set the tone, as opposed to say an appeal. In an appeal, you're more or less dealt with a deck of cards, and you have to make the best out of it. So I enjoy, or I have satisfaction in terms of building your case, or of course, you're acting for the defendant, destroying the case. and painting it based on my narrative. And to me, that is very satisfying. And nothing like trial to give you that kind of adrenaline rush.
Okay. Now, when you prepare for a case, how much do you write?
I try to limit what I write in one page, A4. That's it. Because I think if it goes beyond that, I may be overthinking things or overcomplicating things.
Okay. People behind you on the road, 3 pieces of advice.
Okay. I think one, stay in the lane, because I think litigation advocacy is rewarding. So, of course, the road can be bumpy and all that, but stay in the lane. I think eventually you will get there. And it's a fun ride. So that's number one. Number two, a little bit different. Consider switching lanes. I think sometimes you may be thinking, or you're working on a specific practice area, you may not like it so much, and you have a certain specific passion in something else. Switch lanes, right? There's no hard and fast rule in terms of how to practice law or what areas of law to practice. They all give you a certain kind of level or different kind of level of satisfaction. Third piece of advice, I think, believe in yourself. Yeah, believe in yourself, and just going by the analogy on lanes, eventually you'll take off. So that's
okay. All right. Okay. Worst thing about being a junior at the bar?
Worst thing is being junior at the bar. Inability to basically be the voice or the main voice, if you can put it that way. And sometimes you have to be a fly on the wall. And you're just itching for action, isn't it? So you have a little bit of that, and I don't like it.
Okay.
That's one. Yeah. And two,
Okay,
maybe the grind, if I can put it that way. At the early stages, there's so much things that you do not know.
Sure.
You go through that. Yeah.
Okay. Now we've got 56 seconds. What would make you leave practice?
Nothing.
Okay. That was short and sharp and very sweet. And that's our 7 minutes with Kwan Wilson. Wilson, thank you so much for being with us on Advocates, the podcast.
Thank you very much, Gopal. It's been a pleasure.